Did you get my kind of lengthy response to your invitation?
No, not yet. That was,
Okay,
I guess you sent that yesterday, right?
last night, yeah.
Okay,
So,
then no, not yet. But just to let you know
yeah.
that this is recorded now. So don't say anything private. We can talk after.
Yes, thank you.
You're live on YouTube. So I just play Srila Prabhupada uh, uh, singing
Hare,
Radha Madhava unless you.
Krishna, Hare, Hare, Hare. Ram, Ram, Hare, Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare, Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare, Hare.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiro Vanachari Yamuna Tiro Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Jaya Radha Mansa Paribhajaracharya Sakharishya Smadhati Dham Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Jaya Ananda Kori Vaishnava Ki Jaya Ramacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jaya Name Sutta Ho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakti Jaya Shri Radha Krishna Bhogavnath Sam Kanda Radha Kanda Giri Ki Jaya Vrindavan Dham Ki Jaya Navadip Dham Ki Jaya गंगा माँ की जय यमुना माँ की जय द्वारका धाम की जय स्वामी भक्तवृंद की जय और ग्लोरीज टू और ग्लोरीज टू थैंक यू वेरी मच
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, dear Nityananda Prabhu. Welcome. Very nice to have you here with us. Get your association also.
So gracious Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Jai.
Okay, Ishan Prabhu,
Yes,
the
sir.
the stage is yours.
If I ask you at a certain point in this class to play that opening chanting of Srila Prabhupada again, can you do that?
We're ready. It's ready.
Okay. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Tadvidi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadekshanti Te Jnanam Jnaninas Tattva Darshanaha. That Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is instructing us to approach that person, that personality who, Tattva Darshanaha, Tattva, the Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna himself, that he has that approach that person who has the darshan of that person, that the pure devotee, the Mahabhagavata devotee, who is always in touch with Krishna. Krishna says, you just approach that person because he has the power to reveal this truth to you, because he has this truth, because he has the darshan of Krishna constantly. Only such a person can give us this connection with Krishna. This is Krishna's instruction in Bhagavad Gita. So we're reading Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. He writes this very beautiful shloka, Anarpita Charim Chira. May that Lord, he's known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, may he be transcendentally situated in the innermost chambers of our heart. He's resplendent with the radiance of molten gold. He's appeared in this age of Kali by his causeless mercy. In order, why? In order to bestow what no other incarnation has ever offered before. There's so many incarnations there, unlimited, as expressed in Sri Brahma Samhita. But none of them have the ability to give, to distribute, to share, to bestow on us. None of them. The love of Krishna that is present in Krishna Loka. They're giving different kinds of teachings, but none of the incarnations other than Lord Chaitanya, because it's explained in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita that only Krishna himself, Krishna from Krishna Loka, can share the rasas of Krishna Loka. So this is what Lord Chaitanya is bestowing, what no other incarnation has ever even offered before, the most elevated mellows of devotional service. So we say, Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratashe Namaha. We say like that. That he's freely giving love of Krishna. That Lord Chaitanya is freely giving love of Krishna. So then we should be asking ourselves, or the question may arise, if Lord Chaitanya is freely distributing love of Krishna, even to Jagais and Madhais, why I don't have it? If Lord Chaitanya is freely distributing this love of Krishna, why I don't have it? So there's a process by which we can avail ourselves of this benediction, of this causeless mercy. So we have to understand the science of Krishna consciousness, how this process is going on, how this process is going forward, how Lord Chaitanya is distributing this love of Krishna, and how we're receiving it. Krishna consciousness is a science. It's not a sentiment. It's not a membership of a church that now I'm a member. I have gone through initiation process. I have the wearing neck beads. I have tilak, etc. The books are on my shelf. There's a process by which that Lord Chaitanya is freely distributing. How is Lord Chaitanya? So, if we go to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, Adi Lila, chapter 3, verse 20, Krishna, there he gives a monologue. He's thinking. He's in Krishna Loka and he's thinking to himself. He's saying, I shall teach devotional service by practicing it myself. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he's going to take the role of a devotee. He's going to take the role of his own devotee. And he's going to show us, he's going to distribute love of Krishna by practicing it himself. It's so amazing. So then he says in Adi Lila chapter 3, verse 19, I shall make the world dance in ecstasy, realizing the four mellows of loving devotional service. I shall make the world dance in ecstasy, realizing these mellows of devotional service. And then he says, Madhya Lila, chapter 2, verse 18, verse 81. Chapter 2, verse 81. Madhya Lila. Just try to understand. Just try to understand. Quote, by personally tasting the mellows of love of Krishna, by personally tasting the mellows of love of Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught the process. Just think how Lord Chaitanya taught others to feel love of Krishna. By personally tasting these love of Krishna, he taught what is love of Krishna. It wasn't a philosophy, although we have the highest philosophy, greatest philosophy, based on Vedanta Sutra, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. But how Lord Chaitanya was teaching love of Krishna by personally tasting the mellows of love of Krishna. This is, how do we explain a thing like that? How do we think of a thing like that? He said, it's described in so many. Madhya Lila, chapter 17. Yeah, verses 47 through 49. In all the villages through which the Lord passed, Krishna Das Kaviraj is describing. In all the villages through with Lord Chaitanya, he traveled. He went all through South India. In all the villages through which the Lord passed, and in all the places he rested on his journey, everyone was purified and awakened to ecstatic love of God. How did they do that? It's described Adi Lila 3, verse 62. Raising his arms, chanting the holy name, looking upon all with deep love. He drives away all the sins, and he floods everyone with love of Godhead. You see, they received what Lord Chaitanya is sharing. He's sharing his heart, the heart of devotional feelings, raising his arms, chanting the holy name, looking upon all with deep love. He drives away all the sins and floods everyone. It's just like a flood. When sometimes I'm living by a stream now in the forest, and it's a small stream, 4 or 5 feet across, 5 feet across. But when we're in a valley, so when there's a very inundation of rainfall, all the water comes down the sides into that stream, and the stream begins to expand. It becomes 30 feet across, roaring, picking up trees, big trees, and throwing them like they're matchsticks. Just a huge inundation. So this is the Lord. So he floods everyone. He floods. When the flood comes, nothing can. It overcomes all resistance. It's a flood. The Lord Chaitanya was sharing this flood, and everyone was just become inundated. Madhya Lila 13, verse 176. Upon seeing the dancing, they were seeing Lord Chaitanya dancing. and ecstatic on seeing the dancing and the ecstatic love of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everyone became astonished. And in their hearts, they became infatuated with love of Krishna. Imagine. So, so this is how Lord Chaitanya taught love of Krishna. He may not, those people may never have heard Bhagavad Gita or Dharma talk or what have you. But he inundated with a great flood and overwhelmed people, that unstoppable flood. And they, not alone, and in different places, in different times, in Jagannath Puri or Navadvip, Adi Lila 7, verse 22, Sri Panchatattva, with Lord Chaitanya, with his associates, Sri Panchatattva themselves, they themselves engaged in this love of Krishna as devotees for showing us, for sharing with us. Sri Panchatattva, they danced again and again. And thus they made it easier for us, easier for others, to drink nectarian love of Godhead. They danced, they cried, they laughed, and they chanted. How? Like madmen. And in this way, they distributed this love of Godhead. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? That to be caught in that flood, to be caught in that flood. So the question then, how can we receive Lord Chaitanya's mercy today? So is described Madhya Lila 17, verses 47 through 49. When some heard the chanting, of the holy name from the mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and someone else heard the chanting from that second person, and someone again heard this chanting through the third person. This is in our books. Everyone in all countries became a Vaishnava through such disciplic succession. And thus, or meaning in this way, everyone chanted the holy name of Krishna and Hare, and they danced, cried, and smiled. Here's Madhya Lila, chapter 2, verse 81. This is from the purport. His devotees, Lord Chaitanya's devotees, his devotees who learned it from him also had to distribute it munificently all over the world. This Krishna consciousness movement, following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his confidential devotees, is also trying to distribute love of God all over the world through the chanting of the holy names. Yeah. So Sri Chaitanya here in the Madhya Lila 17 verses 50 to 51, Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared 500 years ago. Yeah, the idea is that one may say, oh, this is really wonderful. The way Lord Chaitanya was sharing Krishna consciousness, spreading the Krishna consciousness is this devotional consciousness, this ecstatic consciousness of love of Krishna. That is what Krishna consciousness is. He was sharing this consciousness where one is overwhelmed with love of Krishna. This is Krishna consciousness. Lord Chaitanya. So you say, well, he was, and people were becoming overwhelmed. They were inundated. They received it like a great flood. Like no resistance. So you say, well, but that was 500 years ago, and Lord Chaitanya was here 500 years ago. So how can we receive this today? So Srila Prabhupada writes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared 500 years ago, but it cannot be said that the potency of the Hare Krishna mantra is less powerful now than it was in his presence. How do we receive it? This ecstatic chanting. It's as powerful to awaken love of God in the heart as it today as it was when Lord Chaitanya was chanting in ecstatic love of God. How do we? By hearing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through the Parampara system, by hearing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through the Parampara, Srila Prabhupada is writing that we should hear the ecstatic chanting of Lord Chaitanya through the Parampara system from the pure devotee. Tadvidi Tattvadarshanaha, Tadvidi Pranipatena Paraprashnena Sevaya Upadekshanti Te Jnanam. He can impart this knowledge. What is that knowledge, Raja Vidya? That is joyfully performed. Shushukam Kartamavyayam. That it gives Pratyaksha Vagamam Darimriyam. That it gives direct perception of our spiritual nature by realization, and it's so joyfully performed. You have to approach someone who has that knowledge and catch it from him like a disease. Pure 525 in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. Pure devotion is as much infectious in the good sense as an infectious disease. Quote, infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste of devotion in the association of one of the pure devotee, of one who has this taste. It is the same process. So this is the science of how we become devotees. By imbibing the taste of love of Krishna today through the disciplic succession from someone who has received this love of Krishna, carrying this love through the disciplic succession, and they're receiving. he said, so somebody might ask a question that Srila Prabhupada did not demonstrate, Lord Chaitanya displayed ecstatic symptoms. Not always, mind you. It is described that sometimes when the big crowds of people, he would keep these feelings inside. Madhya Lila 17, verses 50 to 51. The Lord did not always manifest. The Lord did not always manifest his ecstasy. He didn't always show these ecstatic symptoms. Being afraid of a great number of people, the Lord kept his ecstasy concealed. He felt these things inside himself. Just like in Nectar of Instruction, Srila Prabhupada writes, one should not see the pure devotee, the spiritual master, in terms of his external appearance, but one should try to understand his internal feelings. This is instruction to us, that we should try to understand the internal feelings of Srila Prabhupada. The Lord, quote, the Lord did not always manifest his ecstasy, being afraid of a great number of people. The Lord kept his ecstasy concealed, although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not manifest his natural ecstatic love. Everyone became a pure devotee simply by seeing and hearing him. So it is the same thing. Just approach a bona fide spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart this knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth, Tattva Darshana. So how do we begin to taste the ecstatic love of Krishna that Srila Prabhupada is experiencing in his heart? How do we catch this disease? Pure devotion is as much infectious in a good sense as a material disease. That's Srila Prabhupada's words. To become infected means to imbibe the taste of devotion to Krishna in the association of a pure devotee. He's distributing Lord Chaitanya's mercy through the disciplic succession. Therefore, we must have a very intimate relationship with him. And 10th canto, Srila Prabhupada writes, purport, the meaning of initiation. Excuse me. Initiation means the beginning of something, to start something. Initiation. Initiation diksha, Srila Prabhupada said, means to implement, to begin a heart-to-heart, quote, heart-to-heart relationship with pure devotee. If we have a heart-to-heart relationship with someone, they reveal their heart to us. And this is not an advanced, this is the beginning of our relationship with our spiritual mind. This is the meaning of Diksha. This is Srila Prabhupada's words. That's why he wants us to read these books. Because all of these quotes, all of these instructions are there in his book so that we can understand how we become Krishna conscious. Yeah. Here's a quote. By execution of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, one becomes free from all material attachment and attains steadiness in self-realization and acquires a taste under the guidance. That is his guidance. His guidance is that he has this love of Krishna and we acquire the taste under his guidance. How? If we have a heart-to-heart relationship with him. It's so simple, but we have to understand. Srila Prabhupada writes that if one mechanically takes up this process and mechanically chants the holy name, there will be, quote, there will be a mitigation of the unwanted superfluous miseries of the material world. By mechanical application of this process, there will be a mitigation, means reduction, mitigation of the unwanted superfluous miseries of this material world. But this will not serve to invoke our dormant love of Krishna. It will make us feel good. It will make us feel less anxiety. But it will not reawaken our, how do we get reawakened? We have to get the taste from someone who has the taste through a heart-to-heart relationship. This is the meaning. What is it called? There, I'm looking for a word. Submission. Inquiry, submission, and service. This is submission. Submission means to open our hearts so that we can become infected with his devotion. Because he's carrying the taste, which is Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Even though he's not making a public display, there's good reasons for that. Because there are pretenders. It's very obnoxious, but there are pretenders who pretend that they have this ecstatic love of Krishna. Because why? Because it's got this desire for adoration from the public. It's called pratishta. Pratishta is there are people who are the personification of pratishta, and they will pretend like this. As Srila Prabhupada says, if you go to the temple and you see somebody standing in front of the deities and he starts to cry and he falls on the floor fainting in ecstasy, you kick him in the head. You kick him in the head. Why? As Srila Prabhupada said, he won't mind because he's in so much ecstasy. This is Srila Prabhupada's transcendental sarcasm. Because there are people like this, therefore the Acharya is sometimes it's known. I have one god brother. He's not with us at the moment, not walking on the planet. Hansaduda, he told me he was one of the 11, original 11, who claimed that Srila Prabhupada gave them, passed the baton to them. Now you carry this flag. Now you become your pure devotee, Srila. But he retracted. He said, never, Srila Prabhupada never told anyone to do such a thing. They made it up. He told them to be Ritvik, to give initiation and connect us with Srila Prabhupada. Why? Because Srila Prabhupada has what Lord Chaitanya is wanting to distribute. No one else can give. If I have a pot of rice, I can give a rice to a people. But if my pot is empty, what can I give? So he said that sometimes he was there with Srila Prabhupada when Srila Prabhupada would go into ecstatic trance. He was singing Jai Radha Madhava, and the kartals fell from his hands. Big meeting in Mayapur. Kartals fell from, sitting on Vyasasan chanting Jai Radha Madhava. Kartals fell from his hands. And he was unaware of his presence in that huge room in the Chaitanya Chandradoya Mandir. And hundreds of devotees from all over the world, and the whole room, you could not hear a pin drop, because everyone could see that Srila Prabhupada, he's gone inside and he's experiencing this like this. Afterwards, Hansaduta was speaking, and with Srila Prabhupada, he said, Srila Prabhupada said, as if embarrassed, it doesn't happen very often. Doesn't. He's controlling. But he's always, not for a moment is he not feeling like that. So this we say Prabhupada Nuga. Prabhupada Nuga. This is the meaning of Prabhupada Nuga. To follow in Srila Prabhupada's footsteps. Does it mean that where Srila Prabhupada has put his foot, we put our foot? No, it means to follow his devotional feeling. Prabhupada Nuga. Just like Krishna Das Kaviraj says, praying, he takes Srila Rupa Goswami as his spiritual master and Raghunath Das Goswami as his spiritual master. It says, Rupa Raghunatha Pade, end of every chapter in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita. The living force, Chaitanya. Charita. What is the character? What are the personal attributes? The immortal Amrita. What are those? He said, praying at the lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath, always desiring their mercy. That always praying to the Acharya to receive their mercy. That means if I accept Srila Prabhupada as my spiritual master, I'm always praying for his mercy. What is that mercy? Pure devotion is infectious, like an infectious disease means to imbibe the taste of his devotion. This is under the guidance of, this is practicing Krishna consciousness under the guidance of a pure devotee. Praying at his lotus feet always, it means to become a beggar. That please let me know you. There's one song in our songbook that says, please let me be with you. Let me feel your presence. Let me know your heart. Your mercy, in one of the songs in the song, is all that we're made of. So, by execution of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, this is what we're describing. Execution of devotional service under the guidance of the spirit, one becomes free. Prema bhakti yaha hoite avid yavin ashayate. By him our ignorance is destroyed. How? Prema bhakti, from him this love of Krishna emanates. And if we catch it, if we become infected, our ignorance is destroyed. Because 1:5:25, when one gets this taste, it makes material taste go away. Pure devotion, yeah, is as much infectious as an infectious disease. So the neophyte devotee becomes practically enriched. Srila Prabhupada writes, the neophyte, now we're not talking about bhava and prema. We have no jurisdiction to talk about bhava and prema. I'm a neophyte devotee. Srila Prabhupada writes, the neophyte devotee becomes practically enriched. he becomes enriched with the transcendental qualities of the pure devotee. We have to open our ears, our minds, and our hearts. The neophyte devotee, pure devotion is as much infectious, in a good sense, as an infectious disease. The neophyte devotee becomes practically enriched with what? With the transcendental qualities of the pure devotee, which means attraction for the personality of Godhead's name, fame, quality, and pastimes. Infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste of pure devotion, always in the transcendental activities. And this transcendental taste at once makes all material things distasteful. So then our anarthas are eliminated. After the elimination of all these obstacles on the path of devotional service, one can become attracted. One can have steadiness. I'm reading Srila Prabhupada's words. One can have perfect taste. One can have transcendental emotions. And at last one can be situated on the plane of loving service of the Lord. He's spreading Krishna consciousness just like Lord Chaitanya is spreading Krishna consciousness. All these stages develop, quote, by the association of the pure devotee, and that is the purport of this stanza. That's why we sing every morning, Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoite. From him, this Krishna Prema emanates, this love of God. And if we can catch it from him, that's the way our ignorance is destroyed. Avidya vinashayate. This transcendental taste at once makes all material things distasteful. So, what is it that enables a real disciple, like Srila Prabhupada writes in Nectar of Devotion, that bona fide spiritual master, meaning that real spiritual master, what is he, spiritual master? He's someone who has the real thing to share with us. There's two kinds of spiritual masters, two kinds of instruction. Objective instruction and subjective instruction. Isn't written in Chaitanya that the subjective instruction means feeling. It means that he's sharing his feeling with us. That's subjective instruction. As Srila Prabhupada explains, subjective instruction is given by the pure devotee who's engaged in internal meditation of devotion. He's sharing that with. That's subjective instruction. So what enables, so Srila Prabhupada says, not just that someone who is like that, he's capable, he's a bona fide spiritual master because he can give subjective instruction. To have a spiritual master is not a fad. It's a process. You'll find that Tadvidi Pranay, if you just approach a real spiritual master who has seen the truth, Tattva Darshana, he has the darshan of Krishna. And he has this love of Krishna. And he can share this love of Krishna. It's called subjective instruction. So he says that not just so that's a real bona fide spiritual, that's what means bona fide spiritual master. So Srila Prabhupada says, not just spiritual master has to be bona fide, disciple has to be bona fide. We have to become bona fide disciples of a bona fide spiritual master. We can receive. So how can we receive that subjective instruction? How can we engage? How can we become Prabhupada Nuga? Anyone can wear a badge. What team are you on? What team do you cheer for? We're on this team. We're against that team. What is the meaning of Prabhupada Nuga? It means that to receive subjective instruction from the bona fide spiritual master, the neophyte who has a heart-to-heart relationship that begins at the point of initiation. Diksha means the establishment of this heart-to-heart relationship. That is subjective instruction. That is from the bona fide spiritual. That is the bona fide Prabhupada Nuga. So Srila Prabhupada writes, so how do we come to be able to receive like that? Srila Prabhupada says, I think this is, yeah, Madhya Lila, chapter 17, verse 15. The word snigdha is Sanskrit. Snigdha means very peaceful. You have to be peaceful, Brahminical, peaceful. Samo, damo, tapashocham, the qualities of the Brahmin, very peaceful in the heart. And no agitation, just like the heart, just like the heart, static. You're talking on your cell phone, on your very smart phone. We're being very smart with our smart technology. But if they're static, you can't hear properly. Poor reception. Call failed. So peaceful means no static. What is that static? Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na sochati na kankshati. No more desiring for material things. No more lamentation for material things. Just being situated, Brahma Bhuta, being joyful in the heart. Peaceful. Samodamasta pashocham. Cleanliness, that's clean heart. Srila Prabhupada said, association, he quotes from Bhagavatam. It's like association is like a mirror, like a crystal that our heart can reflect. Association is like a crystal stone that reflects whatever is placed before it. Srila Prabhupada explains that when we come in touch with a pure devotee, if our heart it acts like a mirror, it can reflect the qualities of the pure devotee. But if So what is the essential aspect of the mirror of the heart that can reflect? The mirror has to be clean. No hankering, no lamentation. Peaceful, joyful within the heart. Prasanatma, manaprasada. Serenity of the heart. Manaprasada. Bhagavad Gita 17, 15 through 17. So Srila Prabhupada said, the word, quoting Bhagavad, Chaitanya Charitamrita, the word snigdha, peaceful, that's a quiet mirror, no static. And the word susnigdha, affectionate, are used in verses 14 and 15, Srila Prabhupada writes, and they are also found in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bruya, snigdasya, shishyasya, we are shishya, that's us, disciple. Guravo guyam, confidential. Apyuta. Quote, translation by Srila Prabhupada, a disciple who has, what does he have? What enables him to go forward in this process we're describing? He says a disciple who has actual love for his spiritual master is endowed by the blessing of the spiritual master, of his spiritual master, with all confidential knowledge. He's saying that what is the qualification, attribute, what is the quality of it? One who can, that he has to, his heart has to be open to his spiritual master. Then he can understand his spiritual master. It becomes revealed. A disciple who has actual love for his spirit is endowed by the blessing of his spiritual master with all confidential knowledge. Is a very, therefore Srila Prabhupada uses words like the relationship with the spiritual master must be very intimate. Another place Srila Prabhupada writes, this connection with the spiritual master relationship has to be very thick, intimate. Yeah, heart to heart, thick, intimate. Srila Prabhupada talks about rubber stamping devotional service. I'm doing this, it's devotional service. I'm doing that, it's devotional service. Rubber stamp. Today we don't use rubber stamps. But before this age of technology, of computers and all of that, sometimes if you go through you're traveling and you go through customs or duty or immigration, going through, when you fly to another country, they stamp your passport with a rubber stamp. It's official. It's an official endorsement that you are qualified to enter into this area. Rubber stamp. It's an official stamp from the government. There's no feeling involved. It's an official Srila Prabhupada talks about rubber stamp devotional service. I do this, I get the stamp. We call it devotional service. Why do that? We stamp it. Devotional, but it's not about all these things are good. But the disciple who has love for the spiritual master is endowed with the blessings of the spiritual master, with all confidential knowledge. This confidential knowledge that is, Krishna talks about this confidential knowledge. What is that? Raja Vidya, Raja Goyam, Pavitram, Idam Uttamam, Pratyaksha, Vagamam Daryam, Shushukam, Kartam Avyayam. Raja is the king of knowledge, the king of education, the most secret, the most confidential knowledge. That's the name of chapter 9. What is that confidential knowledge? That Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmya. That gives direct perception of our spiritual nature. What is that? No, it's devotion, it's love of Krishna. That's the most. So where do we get it? It's very confidential. Where are we going to get it? And where can you buy it? Can you buy it? Go to the store and buy it? Can you pay? No, we have to become infected. We have to, our heart has to reflect. From him, Krishna emanate. So, a disciple who has actual love for his spiritual master, I'm reading, is endowed by the blessings of his spiritual master with all confidential knowledge. This is the confidential knowledge. It's real knowledge. It's not, knowledge is not gyan, it's bhakti. Knowledge, sambandha is gyan. Understanding, you go and you play a game, whether it's rugby or tennis or baseball or football, there are rules of the game. That's sambandha. Sambandha, abhadeya, prayojana. That's Vedanta Sutra, 3 sections. What are the rules of the game? Meaning understanding, I am not this body, I'm spirit, soul, my eternal Swarupa Hoy, Krishna, Nitya Krishna does that, I'm an eternal servant of Krishna. This is all knowledge, but it doesn't stop there. Then there's abhadeya, there's a process. And then there's some prayojana, mean to receive this love of Krishna, to manifest in our own heart. So he says, so this is knowledge, that bhakti, that it, love, manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji, you just always think of me, be my devotee. Mam namaskaru, you bow down to me. You give your love to me. So you give up sarva dharman paritya, mame kam sharanam brad. Sharanam means surrender. Surrender means to give our heart. So he says, this is the most confidential knowledge. The most that, because as soon as the yogis try so hard with tremendous austerities of the body and mind, and it can take them for bahunam janmanamante, thousands of births, and then bahunam janmanam gyanavam, having this then when they realize that they have to surrender their heart, bahunam janmanamante gyanavam when they have real knowledge, then they become bhaktas. Vasudeva Sarva Miti, understanding that the surrender to Krishna is the whole game, the whole ball of wax, the whole 9 yards. Samahatma such a sadurlabha, very rare. After thousands of births of making gyan, knowledge. So we know, but the real knowledge is bhakti. Raja Vidya, it's the king of knowledge. Raja Goyam, that's the most confidential knowledge. So Srila Prabhupada says, a disciple who has actual love for his spiritual master, he is endowed by the blessing of his spiritual master with all confidential knowledge. Pratyaksha Vavagamamdar, that gives direct perception of the self by realization. Shushukam, Kart, very joyful. This knowledge is everlasting. Shushukam Kart, Avyayam, everlasting, eternal. It's everlasting, eternal, and joyful. So we get that from our spiritual master when we become real followers, real Prabhupada Nuga. It's not a team that we joined. It's a process of following within our heart by having a heart-to-heart relationship with the Tartva Darshanaha, with one who has the darshan of Krishna. And this is for the neophyte. The neophyte devotee becomes enriched. The process of Diksha is the establishment of this heart-to-heart connection, Diksha. The very beginning. So this is free for all of us. So we have to understand that this process of imbibing the taste of devotion and cultivating it under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master who's distributing Lord Chaitanya's mercy, this love of Krishna. This is the purport of the word or phrase Prabhupada Nuga. Following in the footsteps of our spiritual master for receiving the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So one of the qualifications that we must love him. When you love someone, they open their heart to you. You begin to understand their heart. It's automatic. When you love someone, you begin to understand their heart. Not hiding from us. He's waiting for us. He sent us the invitation. So Krishna does it. Rupa Raghunatha does. Rupa Raghunatha Pade. Praying at the lotus feet of my spiritual master, always desiring his mercy. He says, I write this Chaitanya Charita following in their footsteps. He's also an Anuga. He's also a Prabhupada Anuga. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, Raghunath Goswami Prabhupada, praying at the lotus feet of Rupa Raghunath, always desiring, begging for the, let me be with you. Let me understand your heart. Praying. He said, always desiring their mercy. This is a way of life, that without your mercy, I'm nothing. I have to, please let me be with you so I can have this heart-to-heart relationship. He says, Prema Bhakti Yahavite. From him this Krishna Prema emanates. By him, in this way, if we can catch it, become infected with it, our ignorance is destroyed. Yeah. That is very, very simple. The whole, yeah. Why all of this information is given to us with the hope that we'll accept it. Srila Prabhupada write letters to his disciples. Every letter starts, my dear so-and-so Dasa, please accept my blessing. Please. He's not saying, it's here, come and get. Please, he's begging us to accept what he has to offer. So we like to talk about these things because we aspire to come to this platform. And we aspire to associate with devotees who are also practicing this platform, cultivating this platform of Krishna consciousness, inquiry, submission, and service. Inquiry, submission, and inquiry. How do I get this love of Krishna? Submission. If my heart is open to him, I can taste. Imbibe the taste in his association, become and service. I begin to engage in devotional activity with this taste in my heart. Inquiry, submission, and service. Srila Prabhupada writes in 434 of Bhagavad Gita that the spiritual master is very kind. When he sees that the disciple, and he says blind following, he doesn't want the blind followers. He said, but it's not very common. Preface of Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada's last line in the preface of Bhagavad, and if one, we're distributing these books, millions of books, if one of my student, if one person becomes a pure devotee, I will consider the whole effort to be a success. It's so easy, but our first step is that we have to understand how it works and be willing. Not that I'm a member, not that I wear a badge. But we have the opportunity to be. Now you want to have, but Srila Prabhupada does show us what is love of God. That's why I'm going to ask my God brother, Balaram Prabhu, to play again. No, just see how Srila Prabhupada chants Jai Radha Madhava, and see when he goes inside himself, you can see the beautiful feelings that he has in his heart. You can see them on his face. And then he comes out after singing a line and looks around objectively at all of his students, what they're doing, how they're doing. And then he sings again and goes deep inside himself. And you can see on his face, you can see love. You drink that, imbibe the taste, carry that in your heart, and cultivate that feeling. Become infected with it. And may that Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi, be transcendently situated in the innermost chambers of your heart. He's sharing this love of Krishna. So how do we keep Lord Chaitanya in our heart? We keep Srila Prabhupada, who is through the disciplic succession sharing Lord Chaitanya's love of Krishna with. And it expands. It expands as the more we cultivate it. All knowledge is there. Everything is there. He is Prema Bhakti Yaha. From him, this love of Krishna emanates. This is the science of Krishna consciousness. This, we're not talking about Bhava, we're not talking about Prema, we're talking about initiation. We're talking about the neophyte devotee imbibes the taste. That we're talking about initiation means the establishment of a heart-to-heart relationship. And in this way, from him, Prama Bhakti, if we, from him, this love of Krishna emanates, if we can catch it. By him, our ignorance is destroyed. This is the process of Krishna consciousness. This is the Prabhupada Nuga consciousness. Prabhu, could you please play that? And please, everybody, try and catch.
Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Guru Dwarka Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to that. All glories to that. Thank you very much. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Maybe someone has something to add or to inquire.
Yeah, Samagari Prabhu, if you have any question or comment, please feel free, and I'll check YouTube also. In the meantime, I have a question. Prabhu, you showed us today from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada writing and Chaitanya doing, is that Chaitanya would go out publicly and manifest his ecstatic symptoms externally, and those who saw them, maybe probably for the first time, without any pre-qualification or whatever, immediately, almost immediately, or said immediately, have prema awakened in them. So if that's the case, because nowadays in our path and our process is ultimately to come to that point. We should know that that's our objective. So then we should be kind of ready and looking for it, and very much in knowledge of what are the symptoms of that manifestation and those symptoms when they really manifest, because that's what we're looking for. It's like we're looking for gold. I don't have it, but we're looking for gold. So before I look for gold and find it when I do find it, or know it when I see it, I should know what is gold. But then we get this avalanche flooded onto what I've seen anyway, is that anybody who dares, never mind manifest, just to talk about ecstatic symptoms, prema symptoms. Okay, we're not going to say prema symptoms, as you've been teaching us nicely. The symptoms of a neophyte who is nicely in touch with Prabhupada, the bona fide spiritual master, being infected by Srila Prabhupada's taste for Krishna, which means that they may manifest tears and other symptoms. So how come on one side that's smashed, another side that's our objective? But what do we do with this situation when it's like, because I'm sure from what I have seen now, I'm sure that there are many devotees who are experiencing this taste of Prabhupada, and they don't show it and they don't manifest it for private reasons, and they don't want to show themselves. Plus, it's been drilled into them like that. But my question is for devotees like me, if I see it like people saw it in Chaitanya's time, seeing it is a quicker way than going through the mind, of like philosophy and this and this and that. So when I just catch someone, it is more effective when somebody just has it, provided it's pure. And we get it like that. So what to do, how to handle that situation? What's that about?
What do you mean when you say how to handle that? How to handle what?
Yeah, that's actually my
Not
question.
sure what you're asking.
Yeah. No, I'm like, what, why is it, and it shouldn't be like that. It feels like it should be that devotees are encouraged and free to manifest externally their cries and tears, or the taste that they're experiencing from Prabhupada, so that others like me can see it and be attracted to it and get infected by it. But it seems like that as soon as anybody like yourself manifests some taste that Prabhupada is experiencing by crying, let's say, when they're talking or whatever, that's immediately smashed as sahaja and put down. It's like, no, we don't want to see it. Hide. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself went into public and manifested these things. So first question, I guess, is why is that? Why is it preached and why is it taught to us by the Vedas that we should hide it? And
Well,
second, should it be hidden?
The Acharya Srila Prabhupada is very, very, very reserved. But we can understand that he's always 24 hours a day, he's feeling ecstasy within his heart of love of Krishna. But he's not showing it for the reason externally, for the reason that there will be people who will imitate that because they want to have followers or they want to appear that I'm a very spiritual person. And we should follow Srila Prabhupada's example. There, in the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there were some 13 different sects of there are groups in America. There are different churches where people are fainting in the aisles in their church, and they have the same thing in India, all over the world, because the conditioned soul wants to be somebody special, and everybody should think I'm a great person. So they're going to, and so it happens in the business world that one wants to be the most successful businessman. It happens in the spiritual world, community that somebody wants to be the most spiritual. So a real devotee feels that he's the least, that everyone is more spiritual than him. But because we're because that's our disease. We want to be something special. We want to be Krishna. So that's a manifestation of that desire. That people will try to if they go in the church, just like in the business world, one wants to be the most successful because he wants the admiration of everybody. He wants the adoration and respect of everyone. That's the disease. The same thing goes on in spiritual circles. So that's why the pure devotee is very cautious. But so we should try and follow that example. And if we do feel something and we make a show or let it be seen, that is our own self-indulgence. That is our own probably my own impurity. It shouldn't be made a cheap thing, because before you know it, you'll have people falling on the floor wherever you go. So then Srila Prabhupada says that we should kick them in the head. It's to be discouraged because we're in the material world. We're in the material world, and people want to use anything to be a significant person in any social context, and people will do that. So, but we don't have to. I can only talk from my own tiny experience. It's not that we don't have to have profound feelings of ecstasy, but simply to feel Srila Prabhupada's love, simply to feel Srila Prabhupada's joyful enthusiasm. He shares that with us when we open our heart to him. That will take away, I'm looking for words, it will...
Distractions?
No, the clouds of Maya, the anxiety, all the material feelings that we have, wishing this, wishing that, wanting this, wanting that, feeling, resenting this, resenting that, envying this and envying that. All of that goes away in the presence. As darkness goes away in the presence of the light of Srila Prabhupada's association. So we can carry that, and that gives us the strength to engage in devotional service with a happy heart and carry on. Whether he gives us ecstatic love of Krishna, that or not, that is that's Srila Prabhupada. All we want is to be with him. All we want is to feel his presence in our heart. All we want is to follow him and to feel our relationship with him, and to feel his love. That's enough. It's more than enough. We're not talking about establishing, but we're following somebody who's established that way. But our desire is to become his servant and to follow him in a very humble way. That I'm a conditioned soul. I'm a neophyte devotee. Please engage me in your service. But that his service is the essence of the service is that condition of the heart where one feels that. So then we feel love for him. And it's something that continues to expand, maybe lifetime after lifetime, like in Siksha Stak, Janmani Janmanishwari Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahaitu Ki Twai. I don't want anything. I don't want wealth. I don't want women. I don't want followers. All I want is service. Birth after birth. So I don't even want to leave the material world. So it doesn't mean that all of a sudden we're all falling all over ourselves, falling on the floor. But he gives us the strength to engage in devotional service that it's a taste that makes other tastes less significant for us. So then we become steady. And there's so many stages. So then it's not about jumping to something artificially, but immediately we feel so much support. And we know that, let me be with you. Let me just feel your presence. Let me just try to be your devotee. Please give me your association, because it's uplifting, because it gives us a quality of heart that takes away all of our nonsense. And that in itself, if I can just live on that platform, that and 24 hours a day, if I can pass one day on that platform, that will be, I consider my life to be successful. Because from there, you reach a point where there's no turning back. As Srila Prabhupada said, it's a form of addiction. He said that to me. He says that to us. It's a form that we become addicted, then we're safe. We like the taste of living in connection with our spiritual master. We're following, like that song, I offer you all respect, for this I may have the ability to understand your heart. Then I can become devotional myself. I can start to chant. When will I hold your feet till the end of time? because that connection it frees us, and Shushukam Kartayam Avyayam. It's everlasting and joyfully performed. It starts small, and the more we cultivate it, the more it grows. And if we're guilty of making some kind of demonstration, that's not nice. That's not nice. Then we're looking for something else. So, like that. I don't know if that.
Yeah, it really answered my question. But if you can just touch a little bit more upon this. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went public,
Yeah,
and showed his ecstasy. Now, how come our parampara? I mean, if it's the same answer, okay. But it seems like, because we take Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as our leader, acharya, showing us what to do. He came as a devotee. So as a devotee, he did that. And then it seems like that our parampara line shut that down, like, or didn't show that. Is it all because of this? So why did he show?
my spiritual master is here with me.
Hi, Victoria, Mother Victoria, Hare Krishna.
I have an answer.
Please.
When one of us has the same kind of bhakti devotion that he had, let them show it.
Yeah. I fully agree with you. No, I'm trying to push devotees who have it to show it.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying nobody has what he has.
Okay.
None of us have that. What we have is something much more mundane.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
But if they do have it, should they show it?
I just don't think they do. I don't think any of us in this day are not anywhere near that.
No, but
I'm gonna leave. That's all I want to
say. Thank you.
These are interesting questions, and I'll be contemplating after, in the days ahead or more.
Because why? I can tell you. First of all, we have to understand, to all the devotees who are listening, we have to recognize the pure symptoms rather than the imitated symptoms. That should be clear. Now, once that's clear and we see or recognize the real symptoms, for me, what I experience is that's the most attractive thing, and the most both attractive and powerful, meaning purify me. So if somebody has it, I want to jump there and associate with them, provided it's pure, So that's.
We encourage each other. It's like we want to be a society or an association of devotees who are all following the pure devotee, and we're learning from him. And it's a gradual process. But what I'm hoping to bring into focus is that there seems to be a tremendous consensus of opinion that if I, with grim determination, engage in all the things that I'm supposed to do, and don't do all the things that I'm not supposed to do, and I just do it with grim determination, that one day I'll receive a blessing and I'll be able to have some Krishna consciousness, some real spiritual consciousness, where I begin to enjoy being a devotee, where it's my pleasure. So this idea that by doing everything but the idea is that even if what we're receiving is not that I'm overwhelmed with feelings of ecstasy, that I'm falling on the ground, fainting, the ecstatic. But immediately one feels tremendous upliftment and happiness in the heart. And then that can happen. That's why Srila Prabhupada says one can be Krishna conscious in a second. And so, in other words, it's not something to wait for. It's something that's available now. Whether it's big or small is not the question. That's in Srila Prabhupada's hands. But even the tiniest bit of personal association with Srila Prabhupada is liberating. It frees us, makes us happy, makes us joyful, makes all the things that disturb everyone else's mind to be relatively more and more insignificant. It means we become transcendental, transcendentally situated. So that's available immediately. If one, but what I'm trying to share is this understanding that if we have a personal relationship with the Krishna's pure devotee, with Srila Prabhupada, he can immediately give us a devotional strength, give us, and it will be different in every devotee because we're all different people. It will be different in all of us. The pot washer may still be the pot washer in the temple. And the president may still be the temple president, and the bookkeeper might still be the bookkeeper. But they'll be happy. And they'll be happy and feel that I want nothing else except to engage my personal God-given abilities in Krishna, and they'll do it, and they'll be satisfied. And wherever there's pure devotional activity, all good fortune is the beginning of all auspiciousness. Everything, all success will be given, all empowerment will be given to do Krishna's work. So it's enough. The devotee doesn't ask for more than that. Just let me be with you. Let me feel your love. Let me feel your enthusiasm. And let me be your servant. That's all. And he doesn't have that, and he doesn't want to make a show. he like that. That's simply a material impurity. That's simply a part of the disease that we're trying to cure. So he becomes very meek and humble. And he becomes, the symptoms are that he feels that he's everyone else's servant. That's the symptom that you're looking for. that he becomes fixed up, that you can see he enjoys being a devotee. He's happy in his service, and he's respectful. They talk about what is it? What is it that stops all the Prabhupada Nugas from loving each other? Why is there so much disparity, so much division? It's a symptom that there's not love, that they're not receiving Srila Prabhupada's mercy. But as we receive, the devotee becomes very meek and humble and appreciative of all the other devotees. That's a symptom. That's the symptom we're looking for. I'm thinking like that,
Yeah,
not that he's falling on the floor. If he's falling on the floor, kick him in the head, Srila Prabhupada said. So, but that he's happy being Lord Krishna's servant, a servant of our spiritual master, and that he's loving all the other devotees. That's nice. Those are nice symptoms of without making a show. That's the real show. But nobody can do it artificially, because to the degree that we're not feeling Srila Prabhupada's uplifting association, fault finding, envy, resentment, all of these things will manifest in our heart. So, but if we can catch Srila Prabhupada's association, Prema Bhakti Ahoy, then these things will go away. Avidya vinashayati. So those are the real symptoms that we're looking for. I think so. Think like that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, real Prabhupada Nuga. Thank you. Real Prabhupada Nuga. He loves all the devotees. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's comment and questions on YouTube. I'm looking at the YouTube video, and there's a very nice devotee watching. His name is Mark, that I just met just now on YouTube. See his name. So Mark says, Hare Krishna, very nice talk. I agree with Mataji. IMHO. I don't know what that means. It can be, in my humble opinion. Okay, I think I got it. In my humble opinion, it can be a burden to encourage people to show symptoms, as it may become performative, exactly, and detract from the pure essence that generates the symptom. Right. And Mark goes on to say, the goal should never be for others to see how advanced we are and what symptoms we show. If one is truly pure, then the power and attraction will be there automatically.
Well, this is very beautifully expressed by this person.
Yeah.
It's not has a real gift from where I sit. Not only a gift of expression, but a real understanding, profound understanding. And I'm really grateful. I would like even to copy that. If you can copy that and send it to me, I'll keep it and put it on my desk.
Doing it right now.
That was so beautifully expressed. Very, very beautifully expressed.
Yeah, Mark, if you're there, your YouTube name goes as Mark, so sorry for calling you that if you have your spiritual name. But let me give you at least my WhatsApp number. Ishan Prabhu, I know your number. So add me to you, please. 0090-535-251-3021. Ishan Prabhu, would you like me to publicly state yours? Can you hear me, Ishan Prabhu?
Oh, mine. Anybody they can better if they write to me at my email.
Okay.
Then I can.
Okay. All right. So what's your email?
Peter
There you go.
Ishan Das, ISHAN DAS, ISHAN DAS, Peter Ishan Das @gmail.com.
There you go. Wonderful devotees out there. You have direct email access, and my WhatsApp is also for anybody. So just add me if you like this topic on any level, and communicate. I'd love to hear from you. So thank you very much for that comment, Mark. Very nice. Anything else, Ishan Prabhu?
I just, it's coming out. I really want to make that point that it's not about that we are becoming instantly ecstatic or something like that. It's just that there's a certain sweetness that when we feel, I wrote something down. Srila Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness is only a matter of understanding and accepting. This is the basis of a whole other lecture.
Yeah.
Krishna consciousness is only a question of understanding and accepting. And everybody who's initiated and or coming to the associating with us, they say, we accept. But the next step in is that joyful enthusiasm is the measure of acceptance. Krishna consciousness is only a matter of understanding and accepting, and to engage with joyful enthusiasm, that's the real measure of acceptance. That means one really believes it. If a person really believes it, they engage with it. If the joyful enthusiasm is there, it means that in that moment they're not accepting this gift. The whole understanding of what Krishna consciousness is. And then now, as soon as someone engages with joyful enthusiasm, what do they experience? They experience the nectar of devotion. There's a taste, but the taste is there as much as the heart is there. It's immediate. So if in this, and to accept, to have this joyful enthusiasm, Srila Prabhupada said, it's not an artificial imposition on the mind. It's our real nature, but we have to accept it. And so acceptance means to engage with joyful enthusiasm. So this is how we approach Srila Prabhupada. With that, it says, association is like a crystal stone. Our heart is like a mirror and will reflect his qualities, but the mirror has to be clean. So that when we have joyful enthusiasm, prasanatma brahmabhuta, the other side of that statement is that there's no more hankering and no more lamentation when the heart is filled with happiness.
Mm-hmm.
When one has prasanatma or joyfulness in the heart, there's automatically no hankering and no lamentation. So when we approach Srila Prabhupada with joyful enthusiasm, then we become qualified to be able to feel his presence. And anybody can make that experiment immediately. And then you want to live like that because his association is so beautiful. That's then we want to be fixed up, quote unquote, fixed up. So it's not so much about, it's not about that we are going to develop ecstatic symptoms, but we will be able to be devotees. A pure devotee that suppresses ecstatic symptoms because they interfere with his service. He just wants to be a servant because it's uplifting. It's our real nature. It's where our real happiness lies. We don't want anything else. And these ecstatic symptoms, they just get in the way. So if when we begin, so it says, if one has love for the spiritual master, and this is another subject, then automatically he's blessed with all confidential knowledge by the Spirit. So what is love? Love is sharing joyfulness. Love is simply wanting to share happiness with others. That's all that love is, without wanting anything in return. But one can't be in that frame of heart. I was going to say frame of mind, frame of heart. To share something beautiful with others, one has to be all. The more one becomes happy, the more he wants to share a happiness with others. So it's very important that we understand and accept the measure of our acceptance is to engage with joyful enthusiasm. It's not artificial. It's our real nature. We have to accept that. But the thing is, as soon as we do it, we begin to have a sense of reciprocation. Then we want more. That, then Srila Prabhupada said, have you seen this? He's injecting heroin in the arm. He said, have you seen this? He said, Krishna consciousness is like that. It's addictive. It makes us want more. But so we have to, in other words, there's an expression called a leap of faith. It means I haven't had the experience of his association yet, of the joy of being a devotee. But I believe it's true. So if I really believe, so that's called acceptance, faith. So he says the measure of acceptance is joyful enthusiasm. So when we engage with joyful enthusiasm, we immediately taste that it is true. There's no other way to know that it's true except to do it. Then we say, oh, that's really, I want that. That's superior to any other thing I've ever experienced. So I want more of that. So it's addictive. So I think I'm trying to give some understanding. It's not by hammering out, doing this, that, doing, not doing. And one day, I'll receive some. It's immediate. And there's no other way to, then how far it advances, how far that experience expands, maybe lifetimes and lifetimes, but immediately one becomes transcendently situated and it becomes fixed, not by determination. I have one quote on my desk right now. He says, how does the devotee become controlled by the spiritual master? He said he has to have love for the spiritual master. And then Srila Prabhupada says, then he can be controlled. Then he'll be controlled. Because it's a relationship. It's like that. So then he gives us the strength to, because what is the strength? There's a grim determination is by going to the gym and becoming stronger to do the, no, the strength is that we like it. And that we can get immediately. The neophyte imbibes the taste of devotion in the association of the pure devotee. The neophyte, you have a heart-to-heart relationship with our spiritual master, and he shares his. When we were foolish children, in the 60s, before I became a devotee, everyone was doing psychedelics. And it was said that if you were with someone who was doing psychedelics, they were high. That even if you weren't doing psychedelics, you got a contact high. You received their energy. This is but this is transcendental. Yeah, hi. Vishnu John Swami, I live with him in Texas. He said, the attitude is the altitude. You know, you get, so what do I want to say? Yeah, in his
attitude.
We get his, by associating with a pure devotee, he shares his exuberance with you. He shares his joyful enthusiasm with us. But to approach him, we have to come with an open heart, with a joyful heart. We have to make the blind following is condemned. We have to make that experiment. And then we say, yeah, this is real. It's not pie in the sky. It's not, they have an expression in Sanskrit, pushpa, something, or the flowers in the sky. It's not, it's real. But we have to make the experiment and approach with an open, joyful heart, full of gratitude and full of positive expectation that, yes, I'll receive his reciprocation of love, and he'll share his Krishna consciousness with me. And just the slightest taste. So that means as soon as we engage like that, then we taste the nectar of devotion. So, and that's instant, immediate, and it makes us want more. Yes, we'll be forgetful. Yes, we'll be distracted. Yes, we'll be fools and rascals, because that's what we are. But we'll remember that, when the miseries and the stress and the anxiety returns, and we're annoyed and we're impatient and we have animosity, these are all symptoms. Why am I like this again? Because I let go. Therefore, let me crawl back and be a beggar again. I must have his association. He's my savior. Yes, he's our savior. So, but he's not hiding. He's waiting for us. So we have to make that. I can only talk about it as much as I'm trying to cultivate like that. So, forgive me for my shortcomings, but I talk about it because I want to come to that platform. Because I believe that's the reality of, that's what Krishna consciousness really means. And I want to become a devotee. So I talk about it. And I want to have the association of other devotees who are also practicing like that. So we can share our happiness and the strength of Krishna consciousness with each other. That's why I talk like that. Not because I'm established or in anything like that.
Yes.
It's because I want it. And I want a good association.
Yeah.
And I like to talk about it because it's a beautiful subject to think about. And, Srila Prabhupada said the business of the mind is thinking and willing. Thinking, what does he say?
Thinking, feeling, and willing.
Yeah, thinking, feeling, and willing. So we're thinking about this. Then it makes feelings in our heart. Then we say, I want it. So it's like an orientation process. Mm-hmm. We're trying. That's what all our talks are about. We've been oriented towards towards samsara. we've been oriented towards repetition of the cycle of birth and death, so much suffering. I heard a lecture this morning where Srila Prabhupada said, the material world is miserable. Dukkalayam shashvatam, and temporal and miserable. He said, what? He said, it's made to be that way. It's made to be to make us miserable.
Yes.
Chewing the chewed means Einstein says the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. We're trying to enjoy in the material world and we're expecting a different result that is going to change. It's made to make us miserable so that it encourage us to inquire, why am I suffering and what's the solution? And so then is when these symptoms come back, and then it's like an alarm signal. It's saying, oh yeah. Then we say, oh yeah, I'm in trouble again, up to my neck. Just like Srila Prabhupada says, the donkey is in the stool pit up to his neck. and the man is coming with the rope to pull him out, but the donkey is digging in his feet. And he won't let the man pull him out. He's up to his neck in stool. So he says, because he's thinking, on the side of this stool pit, there's some green grass growing and I can turn my neck and eat some of this grass. If he pulls me out of this stool pit, I'll lose this opportunity to have this wonderful grass. So we have our material attachments and we won't let go of them because we think that it can make us happy. So we refuse to be pulled out of the stool pit of material consciousness because we think we can enjoy. Yeah. So Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I think that there's no other questions and no other comments. Thank you so much for giving us so much of your association and mercy. It was very enjoyable. And I forgot at the beginning, almost every single Chaitanya Charitamrita quote that you gave was one that I wrote down previously, and I was like, what's this? What's that? Yeah. So I have a list of especially that one about seeing the symptom, awakening symptoms of love of God by seeing symptoms of God. But anyway, okay. So that was really nice to get that.
And the only way to see them is to get close to someone who has them.
Yeah.
And we know who has them.
Right.
And the way to approach him, even though he's not making public displays so that other people don't, otherwise the whole Krishna consciousness movement would be filled with people falling on the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
And but he will share with us if we approach him he says, with open hearts, filled with love and gratitude and enthusiasm. Then he shares with us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. See you next Tuesday, everybody. So same place, same time, every Tuesday, no matter what, even if it's New Year or Christmas. Ishan Prabhu is here. So if you enjoy the class, please share the link with others and see you next time. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki, Ishan Prabhu ki jai.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thanks, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My pleasure.